The father allegedly gave the gun to his son despite knowing that his son was a threat to others. What other evidence could play a major role for prosecutors here?
So, Jake, the key that prosecutors have to establish is that the father acted recklessly. And so to that end, I think prosecutors are going to be drawn to the fact that last year, in May of 2023, Georgia police visited the home because of complaints about the son posting online, fantasizing about a school shooting. So I would be looking to prove, A, that the father knew about that visit, and B, that the father knew about those postings. I think if you combine that with the fact that the father then gave the 14-year-old an AR-15 as a gift, I think you have a strong case there.
And Ellie, this is the second time in the history of the United States where a court has held parents responsible for the child's alleged actions in a school shooting. Is this going to become a prosecutorial trend, do you think? And how could this impact what happens in this case, impact future cases?
I do think this is the start of a trend, Jake. Now, that's not to say that every parent will get charged in a school shooting case. Every case has to rise and fall on its own merits. But I can tell you for sure that when prosecutors come across a rare and extreme circumstance like this, they will get together and say, have we seen anything like this before? And how has it been charged in the past? And now prosecutors in the future, unfortunately, will have two examples, the Michigan case and now this one, where parents contributed allegedly to what happened and have been charged. So I do think in the future, sadly, we are going to see more charges along these lines.
And the prosecutors say that more charges are going to come against the suspected teen shooter. Which ones are you expecting?
I think we will see charges relating to all the individuals who were shot and injured but not killed, and that's not unusual, Jake. Typically what you see is the murder charges get lodged immediately so that police can make an arrest, so that the shooter can be put in custody, taken off the streets, and then you'll see the other lesser charges, still very important, but lesser charges, aggravated assault, attempted murder. I think those are going to follow soon.
Ellie Honig, thanks so much. CNN's Isabel Rosales is in Georgia, and she brings us now more on today's court hearing and a community experiencing horrific grief.
You're charged with 4 counts of felony murder.
The 14-year-old suspect in the Georgia high school shooting in court today, with families of the victims just feet behind him. If convicted, Colt Gray would be the youngest mass school shooter since 1998.
The penalty for the crimes for which you are charged does not include death. It includes life without the possibility of parole or life with the possibility of parole.
Just minutes after the suspected shooter left the courtroom, where he did not enter a plea, his father walked in for his own first appearance.
Currently charged with 2 counts of felony murder in the second degree. You're charged with 4 counts felony involuntary manslaughter. You're charged with 8 counts of felony cruelty to children in the second degree.
An arrest warrant for Colin Gray alleges he gave his son a firearm when he knew his son was a threat to himself and to others. It's only the second time a parent has been charged in connection with a mass shooting carried out by their child.
The GBI has arrested Colin Gray, age 54, in connection to the shooting here at Appalachia High School.
Last April, in an unprecedented case, the parents of Ethan Crumley were each sentenced to 10 to 15 years for involuntary manslaughter. The swift arrest of suspect Colt Gray in Georgia partly credited to the new security system the school implemented just 1 week ago. A mobile panic button teachers carry on their ID badges, immediately alerting law enforcement and school authorities.
You think this saved lives?
100% saved lives.
And unlike the school shooting in Parkland, Florida, officers were able to swiftly pinpoint the shooter's location.
26 alerts during the incident when it started. Within 5 minutes of the first alert going off, we had the suspect in custody.
For the victims, the stay in court offers only some solace. The mother of 14-year-old Christian Angulo, one of the students fatally shot Wednesday, fought back tears as she talked about her loss.
He didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve to die like this. I miss him.
Our thanks to Isabel Rosales for that report. I want to bring in someone who works tirelessly to protect children from gun violence. Nicole Hockley is the co-founder and co-CEO of the nonprofit Sandy Hook Promise. We've been talking to Nicole for years. Her son, Dylan, along with 19 other children and 6 adults, were murdered in the horrific Sandy Hook Elementary School mass shooting in December 2012. And Nicole, we have a picture of your beautiful boy up on the screen right now. It is difficult to accept the fact that it's been nearly 12 years since you and your family were forced into such unspeakable tragedy, and yet here we are again. Another mass shooting in a school in the United States, 4 families shattered forever, another community thrown into trauma. It's hard to think of anything positive that could come out of such a senseless act of violence, but you and others continue to work hard to try to find a way to find solutions to fight this. What kind of policies do you think have worked in preventing gun violence?
Well, there's actually quite a lot of policies that can work. Things like secure storage and temporary transfer, also known as an extreme risk protection order. These are ways to temporarily remove access to firearms from someone who could be in crisis or at risk of hurting themselves or someone else. Georgia doesn't have a lot of these state laws on the books. I'm not sure if they have any state laws on the books. So we really want to work with all of the legislators there on all sides to advance policies like that that could have helped with this case and could certainly, and have been proven, to stop shootings elsewhere. So there's a lot of simple opportunity that we're seeing work in other states that we can certainly implement in Georgia as well.
This is now the second case in the U.S. where we see a parent being held legally responsible for their child's alleged actions in a school shooting. Do you expect this to become the new normal? Do you support it? And what else needs to change?
I really hope this doesn't become the new normal, because that means that parents are still not taking their responsibilities very seriously in terms of how they keep their children safe from being able to access firearms and how they respond to signs of a crisis or threat. However, I think this is a wake-up call, and I do applaud, what happened in Michigan, and I applaud that this is being prosecuted here in Georgia as well. And I think that this is a wake-up call to any parent that has guns in the home. That's not to say you are a bad parent. It is to say, are you being as safe as you need to be? Are you recognizing signs of crisis in your child? Are you taking action and getting them the support that they need? And are you ensuring that they don't have access to things like AR-15s, especially if they're troubled? These are simple responsibilities that good firearm owners practice. So I think this is a wake-up call to say, you're not immune to this just because of some other laws that are on the books at the moment, like PLACA. This is something that you have to be responsible for. You're responsible for your child. You're responsible for their actions.
At a campaign event in Phoenix yesterday, former President Trump's running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, was asked what specific policies he supports to end this epidemic of school shootings. I want to play some of his answer and get your reaction.
Strict gun laws is not the thing that is going to solve this problem. I don't like that this is a fact of life. But if you are a psycho and you want to make headlines, you realize that our schools are soft targets. And we have got to bolster security at our schools. I don't want my kids to go to school in a place where they feel like you've got to have additional security, but that is increasingly the reality that we live in.
What's your reaction?
The reality that we live in is that this is happening and that it's preventable. Accepting that and saying that's just the way it is in America, that this is the way we have to live our lives, is completely unacceptable. And there were armed security at this school. There were armed security at Uvalde. There are armed securities at a lot of mass shootings. They are there to protect, but it's often too late. You need to be ahead of it. You need to be focusing on the signs and getting person help before they ever access a firearm and then bring it to the school. So I think this is, nobody wants their child to go to school in a fortress. We also can't build fortresses in every place of America. More guns is not the answer. More security is not the answer. Getting more help, more tools and resources, and more good gun safety regulation on the books is proven to work in terms of suicide and homicide and mass shootings. I refuse to accept that this is our reality, especially when we have created this reality and have the power to change it.
Nicole, what's your advice for the families who lost their loved ones, and how are you and your family doing?
My advice to the families who lost, my heart is with them completely, and that needs to be a core focus right now. What sort of help are they getting, and how are we helping them move through this, because you never get over it. It's almost 12 years since Dylan was killed, and I still grieve for him every single day, and I will until the day I die. And as will my surviving son. You know, I reached out to him afterwards and I said, "How are you doing?" And he said, "This is heartbreaking." He said even the social media, the texts that are going out on social media as children in that school were reaching out to their parents. So I think we're holding that community in our hearts, and we're going to help them through this in the same way so many communities have helped so many other people through this. And it's going to take time. So I would just say hold on to the ones that you love, but also when you're ready, use your voice. If you want to, and if you're able to, demand better legislation, demand more accountability, demand people recognize the signs, and even demand things like understanding, getting access to social media records. We know that firearms are marketed to kids. This father gave his son an AR-15 as a holiday gift. I don't know if the child put that on his wish list for Santa because he'd been marketed it from all the things that he saw on social media or not. These are questions that we need to ask to understand why are young people turning to firearms, and what can we do to help them make better choices as well.